Hello, pre-calculus. Let's do everybody's favorite, add and subtract rationals. So adding and subtracting fractions. So remember what you have to add and subtract. Let's take a look at a couple, hopefully quick ones first. So big reminder on the first one, you've got to have common denominators. So adding these up, both have the x plus 2 in the denominator, so you have to have a common denominator, and that is the denominator of your answer. So same denominator, how many parts do you have? And you just have to add up the numerators. So it is 2 plus x plus 1 is what's in the numerator. We can combine those, and we end up with x plus 3 over x plus 2. No reducing there is our nice little answer. So just remember you have to get common denominators. So how do we do that? Here's one that's a little bit more straightforward than what we're going to get to. Build our way up to those more difficult ones. So we need a common denominator out of these. So remember, a common denominator we have to multiply to make it a least common multiple is what we're looking for. So we want the lowest common denominator. If we look at this, usually we think of what can I multiply to make these the same? So a 3 and a 6, the numbers, we need to multiply this first one by 2 to make it a 6. If we multiply the denominator by 2, though, we've got to multiply that numerator by 2. That takes care of the number. We have an x and an x squared, so if I have one x, I've got to multiply by another x to make x squared, which means in the numerator we multiply by another x. That's really making this, looking at the factors. 6 is a 3 times 2, and x squared is x times x. So this one had the 3, it needed the 2. That's where that really comes from, and we'll use that later. This one had two x's. This one has one. It needs another one. So you have to do the same thing to the top and bottom of the fraction to keep it balanced. What that gives us is, first fraction, we're going to have a 6x squared, and it's going to be a 2x times an x minus 2, but you can distribute that out. That's 2x squared minus 4x. Subtract on this one. Add and subtract. Same thing with the common denominator, but watch out for what we do here with the subtraction. 6x squared is the denominator, x plus 1 is the numerator. All right, so we add or subtract, we keep the denominator, 6x squared. In the numerator, we have 2x squared minus 4x. And here's what you got to remember. This subtraction is for the entire fraction, which means it gets distributed in. So you can write minus parentheses x plus 1, but it's easier just to distribute. A lot of this you can kind of combine steps in your head, hopefully, as long as you don't miss these little things. So minus x minus 1. Now we can combine those like terms. We've got 2x squared minus 5x and minus 1 over 6x squared. Remember, always look to see if you can factor and reduce. On this one, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to factor anything. There's definitely no common factor to take out of the top, which would cancel the bottom, so we don't have to worry about it. If I just try some things like 2x and x, this has to be a 1 and a 1, and there's no way I'm going to make a 5 in the middle. So no factoring. That is the difference of those two fractions. We've got them into one fraction, and it is reduced in factors as much as we can. All right, so there's a couple of reminders for us. We need a common denominator, and we get it by multiplying, and we have to look at factors. What factors does each one need that it doesn't have? How do we make those two denominators the same? Multiply the top and bottom by the same thing to make them the same denominator. So let's try that as these get a little bit more difficult. This one's a little bit more straightforward here. So this is the basic idea behind getting common denominators. These two denominators really have nothing in common. So no common factors or anything like that. So one thing you can always do is you can say the first fraction has one factor of x minus 2. Well, the second fraction does not have that factor. It has a separate one of 3x minus 4. So combine those two. You can always multiply them to make the least common denominator. So x minus 2, the second fraction needs to have an x minus 2 in it. So you need to put that on top as well. The first fraction needs a 3x plus 4. So put that on top as well. 3x plus 4. So we end up with, distribute that x. So 3x squared plus 4x over, I'm going to make one big fraction out of this. We're going to have an x minus 2 and a 3x plus 4. There's the first fraction. We could color code this. That's over here. And then the other one, now, watch out, minus. So let's distribute a negative 2 to this. And we're going to have minus 2x and plus 4. There's the second fraction. You don't have to write them as separate fractions and then combine them. You can do this all in one step. There's our common denominator. And we got first fraction in blue. That's what that multiplied out to be. Second fraction with distributing the negative in red. All right, keep on going now. Combine like terms. So 3x squared plus 2x plus 4. Keep the bottom factor. We want things factored so we can reduce. So I'm going to look at the numerator and say, can I factor that to reduce? Now, it's really only helpful if it's something from the bottom, a factor at the bottom. So if I'm going to make this a 3x and an x, just do some factoring. I hope this 3x is a plus 4 or the x is a minus 2. So I wonder what would happen if I do plus 4. This has got to be a 1 plus 1. Does that work? That is 3x squared plus 7x. Doesn't quite work. So let's try another one, 3x. Got to get rid of those. So we're looking to multiply to be 4 over there. It's got to be 4 and 1. The other way doesn't work. Or 2 and 2. It's all positive. So let's try this. 2 and 2. That's have to be both plus. So it doesn't look like this one's reducing either. Plus 6 plus 2 is 8. Doesn't do anything. So it looks like we are finished. Always try. That doesn't mean it's going to work. All right, so we made a common denominator by multiplying the two denominators together. We just have to multiply the top by the same thing we did on the bottom on each fraction. All right, number 4. Now we're looking at this, these denominators getting a little bit bigger. So when we look at these denominators, I don't want to multiply these two together. If you think of a fraction that might be a little bit more difficult to work with, something like 1 over, let's say 1 over 16, and we're going to add on here, subtract, it doesn't really matter. And we have 1 over, and our other one is, let's say 24. Okay, if we're going to add those two together, I don't want to multiply 16 and 24. I can look at their factors. One thing I know is they both have a factor of 8. That's 8 times 2. This is 8 times 3. They have the 8 already in common. So the least common denominator is going to be a combination of all the individual factors here. It's going to be an 8. The first one is 8 times 2. So if I put 8 times 2 on the second one, it's got 8 times 2. So they're the same. 3 is over here. So I need a 3 on the first one. Multiply by 3, multiply by 2. So my common denominator is this whole idea, this product of 8 times 2 times 3. So that's going to be 48. That is the common denominator between these two. Maybe we can think of that in our heads, but this is the idea of building it, looking at its factors. The common ones will need to be there once. It is the piece that each was missing. The first fraction was missing that 3 from the second one. The second fraction was missing that 2. So that's how we fixed it. All right, so over here, that means what we need to do is we're going to factor first. So let's factor these denominators. We've got difference of squares, x minus 3, x plus 3. Over here, we'll take care of that negative as we go through. Don't worry about it right now. Careful with these two numbers. With 5 and 6, just make sure they multiply to be 6, add to be negative 5, positive 6, negative 5 here. So this one's going to be a minus 3 minus 2. So look at what they have in common. Both pieces have an x minus 3. Now look at what's separate. So the first fraction has an x plus 3. I don't see that in the second one, so it needs an x plus 3. Put it on top and bottom. Now we've got x minus 3 and x plus 3 in both. The second fraction, though, has this other x minus 2. The first fraction doesn't have that. So let's put an x minus 2, multiply the first one, x minus 2. Basically, we multiply each fraction by the factor of the denominator that's missing, or factors that are missing. So what we end up with is, from the first fraction over there, let's say that's green, we're going to have 2x minus 4. Now we can just keep this same fraction going as long as we remember this minus right here. So we're going to have 1 times x plus 3 with that minus. So minus x minus 3 in red. And just stick those together. We just need one denominator. It's got all these pieces. Doesn't matter what order it's in. X minus 2, x minus 3, x plus 3. So look at the factors. Whatever is missing from one of these common factors. First one was missing x minus 2 from the second. Second one was missing x plus 3 from the first. That's what you're going to multiply by. Distribute those out, combine with the proper plus or minus in there. Now, combine these like terms. 2x minus x is x. Looks like minus 7 over, and we have x minus 2, x plus 3, x minus 3, whichever order you want in there. Just make sure you have them all down. All right, x minus 7 doesn't factor. Looks like everything we've done on that one is what we can do. So that is simplified and reduce. Always check for more reducing. So a little bit harder here on number 5. Want to see if you can kind of factor, see what each one has as a common denominator, and get the common denominator, multiply the numerators. You can pause this, see if you can do that on your own. All right, hopefully you figured that out. Pause it and try it on your own first here. I'm going to go through the factoring. First one, we've got x, and it's got a minus 3, minus 4, so we've got minus 4 and plus 1. Second one has an x, and minus 2, minus 8 means we're going to have minus 4 and plus 2. They do have a minus 4 in common, so let's see. The first one is missing the x plus 2. Second one is missing the x plus 1. So we have 3 pieces in our common denominator. I'm just go ahead and make those all one fraction. And we're going to have, just build the denominator, x plus 2, x minus 4, x plus 1. First fraction. Make sure you distribute these. FOIL this out up here. So this is 2x squared. We got minus 3x plus 4x. And minus 6. The green one, we've got plus 6x plus 1, and we can combine some like terms on this. So, same denominator. Don't forget about that. Okay, we know it's going to remain the same till the end, but don't forget it. We've got 2x squared minus 3 plus 4 is x, plus 6x plus 7x, minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5. Always see if you can factor. So I'm going to look at that 2x squared. Let's say that's 2x and x. 5. It's going to be a 5 and a 1. So if we do 5 there and 1 there, that's 10 and 1. That's not going to make a 7 if we do it the other way. So we got 1 and 5. That's 2 and 7. It might work, but we got to have a minus minus 5 and a plus 7, it looks like, on here. So I'm not sure this is going to work. Let's see. If we've got a minus there, that's minus 2 plus 5 is 3. If we have a minus there, it's minus 5. Plus 2 is not plus 7, so it doesn't look like it'll work. Always try it. That looks like our final solution. All right, if we can do through 2, we can do 3. It's the same process. So I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly, but we're still looking to build a common denominator, and that means factor it first. So x plus 2 is fine. Watch out for the second one. This is a minus x squared. I would think a GCF of negative 1 is in there. If I pull out that GCF, negative 1, and we've got x squared minus x minus 6. I'm going to write it in the correct order. there's something I can do with this. That minus 1, I don't have to leave it there and get that as part of the common denominator. And negative you can bring in front of the fraction. We've got a minus there. Why don't we just take that -1 and make it easier, make that a plus. That makes everything a little bit nicer. So this denominator is going to have x minus 3x plus 2. All right, the third one a little bit nicer. We're going to have to keep this minus because we have a positive x squared, and that one factors into x. And this one's going to be a minus 3 and a plus 1. So let's look at the pieces that each one has, and we can kind of build this full denominator first. I need from the first one an x plus 2. Got to have that in my common denominator. The second one has the x plus 2. I don't need another one. I don't have the x minus 3 yet. Put that one in. Third one, we have the x minus 3. We don't have an x plus 1 yet, so we need an x plus 1. So as I go through, I'm going to see what each one needs. First fraction, it's got the x plus 2. It needs x minus 3 and x plus 1. Now remember, that is multiplied on top and bottom, but we've already got the bottom written out. So we are going to have x minus 3 times x plus 1 times 1. Second fraction I'll do in green. So with the green, there we go. So it's plus now, that's good. We've got the 2x plus 9. Let's see, it's got the x minus 3, that one's good. X plus 2, that one's good. It needs the x plus 1 on top and bottom. Right, x plus 1. We're going to have some FOIL multiplication to do here. Minus, now we have minus 2x. Let's choose this. Minus 2x. And let's see, x minus 3, x plus 1. Doesn't have the x plus 2. So technically we're multiplying top and bottom by that one. So here's the problem we're going to need to simplify, and let's do some FOIL. We've got x squared plus x minus 3x is minus 2x. Do a little bit of that in my head. Minus 3 plus 2x squared plus 2x plus 9x is plus 11x plus 9, and minus 2x squared minus 4x. There's our numerator. Denominator still has the same 3. Just keep them there. And x plus 2. And let's combine some like terms. Here's what I see. Plus 2x squared minus 2x squared. That's easy. All right, so we have left in the numerator x squared. We've got that one. All right, 2x minus 2x plus 11x is 9x minus 4x is plus 5x. Minus 3 plus 9 is plus 6 over all 3 of those. And that factors into x plus 3, x plus 2. The denominator has, lucky for us, an x plus 2. Has an x minus 3 and an x plus 1. The x plus 2 cancels, so our final simplified reduced sum and difference up here is just x plus 3 in the numerator, x minus 3, x plus 1 in the denominator. All right, that is addition subtraction takes a little bit longer. You still have to factor, build these common denominators, combine like terms, and reduce at the end. That is 0, 6. So we are on 0.6, and I believe we're going all of those. All right, that is the last piece for this remote learning. Got to bring all questions in 04, 05, 06. If you want to email or do a Schoology message on those before to make sure I've got some planned and prepared, but bring a lot of questions. That's what the day we come back is all about. So get those questions so we can review, and we'll have a quiz after that. All right, good luck with all of these. Have fun.